All right, so this is a trade recap of Tesla from November 2nd, where I happened to take two quick scalp trades and made $620 in just under 3 minutes. So like always, let's start with a top-down approach. And the reason why I think this is going to be a good example is because overall, within the group of names that I trade, nothing looked fantastic. So when I have days like that, I really try to refine my list and realize that I don't want to press it, but there still can be opportunities. And I still like to trade. So it's hard for me to just walk away and not click the buttons at all. So now I just try to focus on the names that have bigger ranges, and Tesla is usually the go-to when I don't really see anything that I love. So Tesla obviously had broken down that day prior, right? And it looked pretty nasty. So if anybody had shorted this and was holding for a swing trade, expecting Tesla to go lower because it looked like it was going to fall apart, it looked like it had room down to probably right around 350. Right? And it had a nasty sell-off. And it closed relatively weak, closed below VWAP, looked like it had the possible making to open maybe even lower the next day. And this is where I got the idea to trade Tesla from. It gapped up. So now anybody who shorted from right around 395 below, they're underwater. So if Tesla has a move higher off the open, I think that there's just going to be at least a momentum trade there. It's definitely not A+, so I don't want to press it. But now it's just about trying to find, okay, what is a possible level that I can trade around? And the only real level here is pre-market high, which you can see on the 5-minute chart right here. So just knowing that if it gets above pre-market highs, there is a possibility for a trade there, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. So now to get into the action. So we're about 5 minutes into the day, and Tesla, it even looked like it put in a very quick opening range break. But once again, on days where things don't look A+, I'm not trying to take trades really quick off the open. And I also want to make sure that if I am taking a trade, just go a little smaller. I don't need to press it. I don't need to push it. I'm not looking for a home run. I'm kind of a degenerate. I like to trade. So I will still factor in those technical patterns, and especially on a momentum name like Tesla. So if it continues to hold up, this looks like it could possibly be a good opening range break, right? The high of day is 396.54. The bottom right now is 393. If anybody wanted to try to short this, because it had a nice push above VWAP, it failed, broke below VWAP. I know there's a lot of people who like to short when things break VWAP. That could have been where some people maybe are stuck trying to short 393, thinking it has a possible gap fill, right? And then what does it do? Totally fails to go lower, and then it reclaims VWAP. I'm a big fan of when it looks like it's going to sell off and it doesn't, and then it reclaims VWAP. I think other people are stuck. And then if it goes above the highs, I think it should go higher. And this looks like a clean opening range break. So I have 5 contracts loaded, the 397.50 calls. So just one strike out of the money. And I'm looking to go long on this opening range break. And the spreads aren't bad. So for Tesla being a big mover, I like these spreads. And I get long right there. And I also want to highlight something. Check out the fill. I always talk about IB fills being great, and I use market orders, but they do have like an IB algo that I think is just standard, and they route your orders just to make sure that you get the best price. Look at the bid and the ask right now, 1375 by 1395, and look at the fill, 1386. So I just wanted to highlight that because I use market, and a lot of times I get filled in between the bid and the ask, which is great. Can't complain about that. So now to just get back to the actual trade. So Tesla looks like it's going to do a nice opening range break, failed to break lower below VWAP. If anybody's shorted below there, I think if it goes over highs, that's where they'd want to get out, starts to speed up. And this is going to be a good example of I want it to go quick. And if it doesn't go quick, like I always say, just get out of the trade. I can always reevaluate. So now I'm up. I'm in the driver's seat. I got filled at 1386. I'm looking at the level 2, time and sales. It's going fast. But I'm also looking at the options contract right there. That's why I have it just below the level 2. So my eyes are always in that area. And now I don't want to let this go red. There is no reason to let this trade go red, and that's something I'm always trying to get better at. Once I'm in the driver's seat, if it comes back down to entry, just get out. And it started to pull back right there, and I got out of the trade. So essentially flat, because you never know when that pullback is going to lead to something bigger, and I'm guilty of sometimes holding losers. So if it doesn't go quick and it starts to pull back on me, just bail on the trade. But now it's starting to look like a flag pattern. So this is a great example of I can always reevaluate the trade, and there's a technical level above, pre-market highs. And now I give it a shot again right there as it breaks that flag. just as it's going into pre-market highs, 5 contracts. I don't increase my size, trading the same size. And now I want to see this go. And the tape is really starting to speed up. And as it breaks pre-market highs, we're trading right now. This is going into $3.99, a little bit of size on the offer there. In my head, I'm thinking there's a possible 400 magnet. A lot of times, momentum names like to trade, whether it be to the upside or the downside, to whole numbers. And I want to hold out for a target of 400. And I got filled on those contracts at 1448. So I am now in the driver's seat. I don't want to let this go red. And I'm trying to ride this out to 400. But if there's any nasty pullback, like if the next candle has an aggressive rug pull and it comes in on me, I'm not going to hold that. I'm going to get out. But as long as this holds above pre-market highs and continuously shows a lot of buying pressure, because every time this takes a little dip, there's buyers that step in. It got through pre-market high, got through 399, tape really starting to speed up there. So now I'm thinking this looks really good to get to 400. And then what happens at 400? I'll make a quick decision. There was some size on the offer at 400, and it ends up pulling back, and I end up just getting out of the trade. So Tesla had a pretty big day this day, but you never know how far something is going to go. That's why I've just tried to be the absolute best at scalping quick moves. And when it got to 400 and couldn't break through it, I just didn't like that was that psychological whole number, and Tesla couldn't get through it that quick. So the moment it pulled back, I just got out of the trade, and I took about a 2-point move out of it really fast. So overall, I was pretty happy with the 2 trades. Gave it a chance on the opening range break. The moment it started to pull in, I got out just to be safe. Looked like I got shooken out, started to form a flag pattern, gave it a chance again, and then finally got the move I was looking for, and ended up between the 2 trades being just under 3 minutes, made $620, which is pretty amazing. And that's the power of scalping. I know it's not for everybody, but if you catch the moves right, you can make a decent amount of money pretty quick. And when it comes to my personality, that's exactly what works best for me, which is so important when it comes to trading. You have to figure out your style, what works best for you, and go all in. So that was a trade recap on Tesla. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.